Hello and welcome to All For United. We are back once again and the reflective mood is over. We are no longer looking backwards, but like, was it Janice? The backwards bit where you're looking and he's got the other end looking forward as well. That's exactly what we're doing now. So we are starting to look ahead. And of course, it all looks pretty barren, doesn't it? There's not a huge amount going on in the world of domestic football at this moment in time. The transfer window is not open just yet, really. So there's not a huge amount going on. But there is, just around the corner, that international tournament that makes everybody just put their head up above the parapet and go, oh, well, that'll have to do for now until the proper football starts again. So until then, we've got ourselves a beautiful little panel here. So please help me to welcome this evening the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Andrew Wall, just below us there. How are you doing, sir? You okay?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm glad it's nearly the weekend. Thank God it's Friday tomorrow.
I'm with you on that one. It's been a tiring week. Back over here, it's the TikTok legend himself. That's probably where you might have seen him from if you popped over from there. It's Mr. call him Andrew Beanie, Andy Beanie, Mr. I don't know. I've kind of ruined that one, really. But there he is, the guy on TikTok. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Glad the football's back tomorrow. It feels like ages since I watched a decent game of footy, so hopefully there'll be some good games in the Euros.
Let's hope it is a decent game of footy, absolutely. And then just sitting over there on the right-hand side, perusing magazines of some sort, it's Mr. Matt Morgan. How are you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Andy said, can you hear me now? Yeah, good. I'm glad it's nearly Friday, and yeah, I'm glad for some football tomorrow, or from tomorrow, I should say. Feels like forever since the season finished, so yeah, it'd be nice to get some footy back on the telly.
Absolutely will. Of course, conspicuous by his absence, the usual co-host, Mr. Dan, is not here at the moment. He will be. He's just run a little bit late at the moment. He's skating on thin ice at the moment in that one. So that's a little inside joke. He's taking his daughter ice skating. What a lovely man. So let's crack on. We've got John. Hello, sir. How are you? Lovely to see you. And box straight up with what we do every 4 years, basically. It doesn't matter how we've got on in all the previous stuff. It's just constantly, it's definitely coming home. And some people believe it. And some people just say it now, because I think we all hit that point where we just feel like we have to. But we are going to have a brief moment before we go into our Euros chat, because obviously, I suppose the biggest news that seems to be coming out of Manchester United land, otherwise known as Old Trafford, is that, I mean, it's not really news, to be honest with you. I think anyone with a modicum of common sense realised that this is probably going to be the case, but David Ornstein has been putting out there that Erik ten Hag will not be leaving the club. Obviously, not finding out that he'd been sacked within the first week of the FA Cup final wasn't a message enough for some people, and there does appear to be some sort of leakage of news. So really, I'm not going to ask any other questions other than that. Just how are you feeling? Are you happy with the decision? And what do you think it means for us going forward? We'll kick off with Matt. Off you go.
Yeah, I am happy. I'm more happy now. Now we've got the clarity on it all, to be honest with you. I feel like it's probably gone a bit longer than what it needed to be honest. But yeah, no, very happy that he's staying. I think, like I say, the consistency of keeping managers now rather than swapping and changing, hopefully will pay dividends. And it's nice that he's actually going to get a chance under the new structure now. And obviously these talks, it looks like he's going to be signing a new contract as well. So it looks like he's here to stay. Which is good. So yes, hopefully gets back in the transfer market now, and we can move forward and hopefully have a better season next season, and hopefully not as many injuries.
Yeah, I don't think there was any other option, to be honest. With the managers that are out there, the management market I think is a little bit poor. So I think the continuity of keeping Ten Hag, I think it's a good one. I worry for him if we don't start next season very well. I think the knives will be out very quick. But yeah, a bit like Matt says, I think we need to back him in the summer now financially. The fan base needs to back him, and just see where it goes, really. But yeah, I'm more than happy that he's staying. I don't mind at all.
Yeah, say you've always been on here, I've always backed Ten Hag. I have had my grumblings and moans, and question some of the things he's done during this season as well, like other match going supporters have as well. It's just like you have a right to like criticise, but I'm just the way the season's gone. It's probably ultimately the most important decision and significant that Ineos have made so far in their time in charge at United. So it was like, as they said, they want to walk to the right solution, not run to the wrong solution. So if you said about a month ago, then you could argue that Whiting had been a little bit on the wall for him. It's just after the Crystal Palace game, it was like that was our rock bottom. But since then, it picked up, and I just thought if he hadn't won the FA Cup final, he was in a bit of trouble. But I was still backing him if we hadn't won it either. But I'm just glad he's staying out. Just provides that clarity. I know United have been talking to other managers, and I just thought leaving Ten Hag a bit in the lurch. But I just think like it's all we know. The decision's been made now. We can all move forward. We can look forward to a pre-season and the season ahead. And hopefully some significant changes, and he's back. So say Ten Hag's still here, so just he's got the backing of the fans. It's just whether we'll still have that ballroom support in the future as well. So it just depends how next season starts and how it all goes.
I tend to agree. John's sitting here and saying he thinks it's brilliant and outstanding news. We're keeping Ten Hag. We can now move forward and focus on transfers. Big up to all bald people. Same to you, sir. Big up to you as well. And over here, NT, just really, we're going to hear the end of it. Me too. Glad he's staying. Transfer room is about to go into overdrive, so it's just one less rumour. Obviously, we're going to be connected to just about everybody in the Premier League and beyond. And Simon's turned up straight up with an I told you so. I mean, to be fair, I think most of us pretty much felt it was going to be the case that he would stay. But there was a brief moment where I think a few of us were like, well, maybe he could go. Sort of depends. But I think we've all got our heads wobbled and are quite content with what's going on. So that's all good stuff. But that's not the purpose of the show today specifically. Oh, box. I'm not going to put that up. That's harsh, but possibly also true for some people, but not for us on this channel. So what we're going to say? We're going to say Euro 2024. We're all off to Germany via the wonder of television, where we will have the opportunity to watch a ridiculous array of talent. 24 teams vying for success, joy, and the ability to be called the best international team in Europe. And we thought, because it's the type of thing we do here, want to have a chat about the European Championship. And the thing is, it's a Manchester United channel. And so whilst we do want to sit there and talk about Europe and all of the great teams that are within it, we also wanted to go, well, how's that going to relate to Manchester United? We can't just come on to a Man United fan channel and just talk about international teams. That would be weird. We're not an international fan channel. But instead, it was very easy. What Man United players play for those clubs and which ones used to play for us and don't anymore. So that's how we're going to link that in. Some might call it tenuous. I don't care. We're still doing it because we're live now and we can't change it. So there we are. So I thought what we'd do is we'd literally just run through the 6 groups to begin with. Sort of have a little look about who we think the runners and riders are, talk a little bit about some of the potential players, have a little blast from the past, talk about our thoughts and feelings of some of the players that have left us, and also to celebrate the ones that are already with us and to see how they might get on. So naturally, we're going to start with A because it's the first letter in the alphabet, and it would just feel odd if you start with any other. I mean, who would start with C or F? It's madness. There's a reason why A is first, and that's what we're going to go with. So 4 very interesting teams over here. We have got Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. Play nicely in the chat. So what we are going to do is have a little discussion about them. And obviously, the only one that really matters for us in terms of the Manchester United point of view there is the mighty Scotland, which will please our fair gaffer Connor because he's a huge fan of the Scottish. Me too, because I've got a little bit of Scottish blood in me, thanks to my granddad. So Scott McTominay, 7 goals in the qualifiers, including 2 against Spain in a massive win for Scotland. It's a big group, like I say, Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. Interesting teams in there. What do you reckon about the group? We'll kick off with Andrew. What do you think about the group? How do you feel about good old Scotland and their chances? And a little bit of a chat about Scott McTominay. What are you thinking?
I was going to say it's an interesting group. I think Germany last time they didn't do so well, so they've got something to prove as well. So with McTominay as well, finished the Euro 2024 qualifying with 7 goals, and that was one more than Erling Haaland's tally himself. So he's for Scotland. It's a bit of a transformation from I think he's been all over the place with Scotland, like defence, midfield, and now a box to box, crashing, attacking sledgehammer, as some would say. So, but I think McTominay's eye for goal was very appealing to Ten Hag to give him sort of a similar freedom at United as well. It's like go on there and just try and get some more goals as well. So I think he's had a little bit of I think after the cup final, I don't know whether he was slightly injured, so I think just only minor. So I think definitely needed by Scotland to cause a bit of a ruckus, and obviously maybe chipping with a few goals as well. So I think was it former Scotland player Charlie Adams said McTominay is like a talisman for Scotland as well. So he's one of the key players for them. So it could literally make Germany sweat tomorrow so it'll be interesting. Great opening game to the Euros. So it's like, let's say, I don't know, maybe fancy Scotland just to maybe cause a little bit of an upset. So say Scotland haven't been in tournament football for a while, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on. So McTominay can maybe have a good tournament if they get out the group stages.
Absolutely. And I think that's going to be the tricky part for them. I'll ask you all for your predictions as to who's going to make it through the groups as we move towards the end of these chats. But yeah, for you, Beanie, what do you think about that? I mean, it's a big group. Like I say, Germany and Scotland probably, or certainly Germany, you would say the favourites for the group. But Scotland, Hungary, Switzerland, there's definitely a second place up for grabs there. Can you see Scott McTominay throwing up a few more surprises for them? Because like we say, we wouldn't have expected Scotland to beat Spain at any point, but they did. And it was 2 of his goals that did it. Could you see Scotland perhaps sneaking second place if Scott McTominay is on fire?
Possibly. I mean, he's a big player for Scotland, isn't he? He's a good goal threat. He gets a lot of goals for him. Yeah, I mean, I think playing Germany first, I think that's probably good for Scotland, getting the tough game out of the way first. A lot of pressure on Germany, though. It wouldn't surprise me if they maybe stuttered to start with because there's a lot of pressure there. Like Andrew said, they haven't been great recently in tournaments. A lot of pressure being the home nation. But I think three nations go through. So I think there's a few sort of best third places, isn't there, that go through. So I think there's definitely a shout there for Scotland. I think Switzerland's probably the game for me. If I was Scottish, that I'd be looking at that we can get a win there. Hungary look a decent team. I think there's a chance there. Why not? I mean, they're always solid, aren't they, Scotland? It's just all about if they can score the goals at the other end, which they never seem to be too threatening for me. But it's if they can keep it solid and maybe nick the odd goal, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's Scotland for you in the nicest possible way. They're not the most threatening in attack. They never have been, really.
No.
Even when they had the likes of Ali McCoist, who was a good striker. They were never really all the way up there, bless them. But they do have a lot of heart. And Box is, of course, correct because there were 2 teams from each group. That will only give you 12 people. So, of course, there are 4 spaces available. And it will be the best third places, which I don't like, I've got to be honest with you. But they could have just had an extra couple of leagues that would have made it a bit easier. But no, they're not doing that. Simon going for Switzerland to finish second there. And John saying it'd be interesting to see Hungary to do well in that group. Wouldn't rule out Scotland, but think tomorrow's game might be tighter than we all think. Also thinking Germany will win. Whereas Rajat thinks McTominay will probably get 1 goal, but he hasn't said if that's tomorrow or just as a whole, just 1 goal in the European Cup, and that's all. So we'll see how that goes. Matt, Germany 3 times winners of the European Championships, 4 times winners of the World Cup. I don't think anyone's looking past them for this group, as I say. But McTominay has consistently been the player that's underrated, I think, in our team, to the point where the best elevation I think people have given him is that he's a super sub. You know, it will come on as a substitute, it will change the game for you, but he shouldn't be starting. Where do you stand on Scott McTominay? Because he's going to be starting for Scotland, isn't he, you would imagine?
Yeah, I'd probably say he's probably one of their, in comparison to United and Scotland, you'd say he's probably Scotland's key player. I think if they want any sort of chance of qualifying from the group, I think they are going to be relying on him turning up and contributing, whether that's with assists, goals, and just his general performances. I think will be quite key. It is an interesting group. It's quite tricky to predict who'd finish second. Scotland do have a chance, but obviously Switzerland are not a terrible team. Obviously, you would fancy Germany to go through because it's Germany, and you look at the group, on paper, you'd put them top of the group. But there will be a lot of pressure on Germany, like Andy said, being the hosts. There'll be a lot of expectation. I think it'll hinge on whether they can live up to that expectation. But Scotland they'll be well up for it. I don't think Germany will be a walk in the park for them. I think Scotland will make a game of it. Will they come out on top? Maybe Germany might have a bit too much quality for them on the day. But yeah, definitely second place is up for grabs, and it's quite hard to predict, but it's going to be very interesting.
Be very interesting. I mean, Simon's saying Havertz for the brace tomorrow. I mean, I hope he hasn't got anything wrong with his teeth by the end of the game. That'd be atrocious. Don't want anything like that to happen. Poor guy. Listen, we've got somebody backstage. He's finally arrived. He's skidded himself across the ice and he's made his way here. So let's bring him back. And there he is. All right, Dan?
Yeah, I was on the rink of being late.
Oh, well done. Yes. Yeah, you should still put the B before it, so the B rink, and then emphasize it. But that was really good.
I'm getting better.
You are getting there. Very impressed. We'll have a full-fledged puntastic host out of you before I finish with you, that's for sure. Well, we didn't miss much. We've spoken about Ten Hag staying, but we've just been looking at Group A, which is the first group. So
Scotland.
that's all good. Obviously, we're looking at Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. The only person we really care about from a Man United point of view there being Scott McTominay, Super Scott, over there in the Scottish side. What's your thoughts on how that league, that group, will go? We've all said pretty much think that Germany are probably going to top the group, but do you see Scotland squeaking through?
Yeah, I think they've got a chance, haven't they? You never know. If McTominay shows up like he did in qualifying, then I would make a prediction that Scotland could possibly finish top. Germany didn't do very well at the last one, I don't think, did they?
No.
And they automatically qualified for this one because it's in Germany. So I'm not sure what sort of state they're in terms of a team. I've not really seen much of Germany leading up to it. So it'd be interesting to see what state they're in going into it. But I really want to see McTominay do well because I'm fed up of people underrating him so much. Tough indeed. He wasn't me ice skating.
Imagine. That's a sight actually that I'd probably pay a little bit of money to see. A little bit of that.
Definitely end up on my arse.
That's why I'd want to see it. Obviously, you know, for a really good one, I won't be bothered. I don't go and watch the really good ones now. Come on. So basically, what we're going to do is after each group, I'm going to ask you who you think your top two are going to be. And I am going to write this down because I like records to be kept for later so we can all work out just how rubbish we are. It'll be a bit like Ant and Dec to do when they do their talent shows and stuff like that. They always seem to guess who's going to be in the final, who's going to be the winner, that sort of thing. And then they all look at it at the end and go, well, you were rubbish, weren't you? So that's basically how we're going to run it over the course of this. And we shall see if anybody has gotten it right. I will be asking you for your ultimate winner at the end of the show as well. And then we will see as we move along through the month. So Andrew Wall, in order, who's finishing top, who's finishing second?
I was going to say finishing top. Well, Germany for me. I just can't see them not finishing top in front of their own fans. Second place. Oh, that's anyone's guess, but I just can't look past Scotland.
It's not your guess. That's where we're going with this.
I know. Yeah, just can't look past Scotland. I think they're just going to get second place. I think they'll get ahead of Switzerland and Hungary.
Matt Morgan.
Yeah, I agree. You can't look past Germany for top place. And yeah, I'd fancy Scotland to nick second ahead of Hungary and Switzerland, definitely.
Very interesting. Is it going to be a fat trick, Beanie?
Germany top and Hungary second for me.
Oh, now that's interesting because a few people have gone with that. I've seen John Commode. He's gone with that. He's gone Scotland bottom. Like Connor's never talking to you or you, Box. To be honest, they've gone for exactly the same one. In fact, I'm starting to wonder if Box is John's burner account at that rate. Just so it makes it look like he's right. Oh, look, yeah. But then again, he'd be agreeing with Box. So who knows? Okay, but there we go. So 1 for Hungary. Dan, what say you?
I'm going to go for Hungary first, Germany second.
Shut up.
Yeah, and I am, yeah. See, we're going to be an yeah, I'm deadly serious.
He's dead serious.
Dead serious.
I'm writing it down now.
Yeah. So it's either going to be the greatest moment of punditry you've ever seen in your life, or
Not going to get lost.
I won't be coming back on after the Euros.
Wow, that's something. That's a real something. Hey,
there's no logic to that, by the way.
no, there's none at all. I'm very confused as to how you've gone that. Surely you think Germany are going to beat Hungary?
I genuinely have not seen enough of Germany leading up to it.
It's Germany.
Yeah, I know, but it is what it is, isn't it?
What have Hungary done?
They've got quite a few decent players, Hungary. Like, they've got some sleepers.
Well, that's going to be no good. They need footballers. Sleepers are only good for railway lines.
Actually, I don't know. I fancy them to be a bit of a Croatia, sort of a dark horse. Do better than we think.
Are these just people that you pulled out of your work sweepstake and you just sort of try to manifest the winner?
Maybe.
If we're doing that, all eyes on Slovakia. All right. Although, fun fact, in the class one, I did pull out Scotland. So, there's an extra reason to love them there. Well, okay. Well, listen, it's all about opinions, whether you are mental or not in that one, Dan. But there we go. We shall see. Only time will tell. But fair play. Group B then. Well, Group B, again, I think you could probably call what the top two are going to be in this one, unless there's a bit of a shock, which there usually is, but that's already gone because Hungary are finishing top of Group A. So it's not going to be happening in this one as well. We've got Spain, we've got Croatia, we've got Italy, and we've got Albania. This should be quite a short one, really, because there's nobody from our current squad who plays in that group. But of course, Matteo Darmian will be turning out for Italy, now playing for Inter Milan. Obviously a fullback, somebody who probably could have done with this season. But there we go, we didn't have him. So we'll go around we'll still go around the same way, but I will miss Andrew. I'll come to him last, so he's not always going first. So we're going to go to Beanie, and I'm going to ask you, number one, did you rate Matteo Darmian? What did you think of him, and could he have helped us this season? And what are you thinking about that group?
Yeah, I thought Darmian was all right. I mean, I think the Italian league probably suits him, to be honest, a bit more than the Prem. He always looked like he was just missing a little bit for me to be a really good Prem fullback. I don't really rate Italy, to be honest. I know they won the last one, but I thought we could have done them in the final, to be honest. I thought we let them back in the last one. I think they're just a good tournament team, but I don't really rate them that highly. I don't think they'll get out of the group. For me, it'll be Spain and Croatia that get out of that group. There we go. I don't know what else to say.
You're just going straight out with that. We're not going to wait till the end. That's what you're going. Spain top, Croatia second.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Then that's done you out of your next chat, hasn't it? But okay, fair play. He's gone early. He's gone very early. Spain top, Croatia, Italy, not even at poor old Darmian. No chance for him, although Simon Warner going, they're not going to surrender their title easily. While NT is still just gobsmacked that Luka Modric is still playing football. He's older than him. Well, there we go. Who knew? I've got to say, Box seems to agree with you, Beanie. He's gone to Spain and Croatia with Italy and Albania. And so is John Commode, but he couldn't be bothered to put the numbers this time. Clearly a lot going on in Hotel Commode. But NT saying Spain, Italy, Croatia, Albania. So NT feeling like Italy might get it through. What's this? Italy last kicked a ball in knockout World Cup football in 2006 when Grosso scored the winning penalty on the final. Okay, well, the good news is it's the European Championships. We might have more luck at that one. So that's good stuff. Pepe's still playing. He's 42, nearly. Right, Matt Morgan. Matteo Darmian, what do you remember of him? Because I've got to say, I agree with Beanie, really. He wasn't the world's greatest fullback. I don't sit here and go, God, I wish for the days that we had Matteo Darmian. But I do still think that if we'd have had Darmian this season, it may not have been quite so dreadful in the league. What say you?
Yeah, I'd probably say I don't think he was quite cut out for playing for United in the nicest possible way. I think the Italian league sort of like is more his level. It suits him a bit more, like the way the football's played, the pace of the football. Like I say, he definitely probably could have done a job this season because we literally had virtually nobody this season at full back for the best part of it. I think in terms of the group, it's one of them. You've probably got to fancy Spain as definitely. I think they will top the group. But I do fancy Italy because they are defending the championship Euros from last time. So I don't think they're going to hand it over too easily. And it's Italy, and they always seem to find a way. So yeah, for me, it'd be Spain and Italy as the top two.
I've got to be honest, I go with that as well. I'm thinking Spain and Italy. That's what I've gone for. John Commode saying, I remember Darmian for convincing Micah Richards he had bird poo on him whilst marking him on a corner. Whereas Box doesn't remember much, but he will now remember that. So that's something he can remember. Dan, Matteo Darmian for you, where does he rank in the list of Man United fullbacks over the last 10 years? And are you going to say something crazy like Albania to top the group, or are you a bit more sensible in this one?
We'll see. I like Darmian, to be honest. I thought he was all right. I just don't think he suited the Premier League. I think Matt's spot on. He just didn't seem to suit the style of football. You could maybe argue that he wasn't maybe not physical enough for it. And Italy suits him a little bit better. But he definitely could have done a job this season. But as Matt said, anybody could do a job this season. I think my nan would have had a good go, to be honest. The results, I don't know. I genuinely struggle with this one because Spain have not been themselves in the last few tournaments in terms of they were sort of recovering from the golden generation. So they're sort of there but not there. Italy are the same. Seem to do well at tournaments, but every time they play a big team, they tend to lose. Obviously, unless it's England in a final. Croatia are a half-decent team. Well, they're a better team, but they haven't got as good players. I know it's crazy. Modric is still playing. And I don't really give Albania much of a chance, to be honest. So I'm going to put Albania bottom for sure. Going to say Spain are going to win the group, but I think Croatia are going to pip Italy. So I'm going to go for Spain and Croatia to qualify. Spain top, Croatia second. I'm just not sure with Italy. So I'm going to say Croatia are going to pip it because I think they'll be a better team.
Yeah.
Fair play. Matt, I'm going to have to ask you again. Who was your second place? I know you said Spain top.
Spain and Italy.
That's decent.
Yeah.
Lovely. Andrew, there's no real change on the questions. I've got to be honest with you. I'm not to that level this evening. But what I can tell you is that Matteo Darmian was a fine footballer. But you're probably one of the few people who saw him regularly live. So what did you make of Matteo Darmian, and where do you place him in terms of ability?
So, well, you kind of slipped down the pecking order, after, Mourinho replaced Van Gaal in the dugout. So he kind of missed out on the boat at the highest level when his time at United came to an end. But you just look at what he's done since he's gone back to Italy. He's picked up his seven piece of silverware since leaving Old Trafford since 2019. So just winning Serie A with Inter Milan as well. So you think, that Inter side as well, what he's done there. So it's just a testament to his, renowned flexibility as well. So I didn't realise he was 34 years old. I thought he was much younger than that. So I felt like he came to us at a really young age. But I think the others have said Italy is where he's done his best work. So can't fault him for that. But looking at that, Group B, it is a tough one to call. Could you call it a group of death? because look, well, Albania obviously not going to be matched for any of those teams, but you look at the other three. Spain are going to be the favourites, to top the group, and Italy have looked, strong. It might not look as strong as in recent years. I think they've missed the last 2 World Cups, so finally back in a major tournament. But that'll be Croatia as well. Like a danger for everyone. Never quite fancy, but they all seem to go far in tournaments. So I'm going to go Spain to top the group and Croatia to be second. I just think they'll just have enough to, get past Italy.
Intrigued. I've gone Spain and Italy. I don't think Italy are going to give up their crown that easy. I think they will fight their way through one way or the other. They've got a habit of doing so. But yes, very interesting. Box saying into retirement home for ex-United players, and Simon Warner saying Croatia are, in his opinion, serial qualifiers. If we were talking about serial qualifiers, I'll probably go for Sugar Puffs or that lovely cinnamon one. Like curiously cinnamon or something like that. It's quite nice. Quite a tasty one. Get that on you. Ooh, beautiful, nice bit of milk. Group C is where we're going to go next. And there's lots happening in Group C. My goodness, that's where all the action is. It's Slovenia, it's Denmark, it's Serbia, and it's England. Now, big things going on here. Obviously, in Denmark, we have got Christian Eriksen and we have got Rasmus Højlund, who will be racing out there for the Danes, who during midweek managed to defeat Norway in a friendly just beforehand. We, on the other hand, won one of our games, then lost to Iceland. You must apologise. I am calling them we because I'm English. If you're not English, obviously I mean England. And I will slip in and out of that because I am first and foremost a fan, and that's what happens. So if I do that, send your emails to Connor Roberts at wedontreallycare.afu.com. You could try that one, but I think it'll probably come back to you. England, of course, we've got Mainu is going to be playing, which is great news. Shaw is there as well. Amazingly, Tom Heaton was asked to go there and help out with the training as well, which I was really intrigued by, and I'm going to ask you guys about that because that did blow my mind ever so slightly. Of course, Dean Henderson is also going to be turning out for England, and as we all know, he was a fantastic substitute for Manchester United. So we've got quite a few names in the pot. Not really too many people caring about Slovenia and Serbia, although, of course, big shout out to Nemanja Vidic. So, whilst we're having that particular conversation, it's going to be Matt Morgan's turn to start. And there's lots of questions to be asked about this here. So I'm going to ask you this question about Luke Shaw, which has just come out here. I wonder how long Shaw will last. Can you see him starting in that first game against Serbia on Sunday? Do you think that he's likely to potentially come on as a sub? When do you think would be the right time to bring Luke Shaw into the fold if you are Gareth Southgate?
I think it might be, obviously I could be completely wrong, but I think it could be a little bit too quick. I think he was only back in, so he's only been training. I think it's only a few days back on the pitch. I think tomorrow's game might come a little bit too soon. Whether he'll maybe play like the second or third group game, I definitely think he'll play a role throughout the group stage. How early on, it's quite hard to say. Depends how far his recovery is. But yeah, I think to be fair, if they can get Shaw playing and he actually performs, I think he actually will make quite a big difference. Because if you look at the other options they've got at fullback, I'm not overly convinced, to be quite honest. So yeah, Shaw will be a key one. And if he can get him performing, I definitely think he can make a big difference and a contribution to the competition, definitely.
Interesting. And NT was just literally gone to my question for you, Dan, which I deliberately saved for you, seeing as you're his biggest cheerleader. NT's put, did Maguire not get selected because of injury? I think it's the first time Southgate surprised me recently. If not, Maguire's been very solid for England overall. We questioned it, didn't we, as to why it was that Harry Maguire had been chosen, considering the amount of time he'd played and the fact that he had an injury towards the end of the season. Obviously, he didn't make it into the final squad. How did you, or why do you think that came about?
So he's got a calf injury that he's not going to recover from. So he's been left out because of injury. That's what everybody seems to be saying. But I think it's crazy when you look at England's defence now. Not confident at all looking at that defence. John Stones has only made 12 starts this season. I think the two most the players that have started the most is Crystal Palace's Gay and Braithwaite. And Branthwaite didn't even go, sorry. So he's took a massive risk. I think Dunk's the other one. But if you look at the defence on paper, it's absolutely shocking for an England team going to a major tournament. It's awful.
Don't you dare slam dunk.
Brilliant. See, look, I'll never be that legendary, I'm afraid. But no, it's really bad. I made the statement on social media, and I'll repeat it. I'm willing to die on this cross. If Maguire went to the Euros, we'd get to the semis or the final. Without Maguire going to the tournament, I'm not convinced we're going to even get out of the group.
Wow.
It is that much of a loss for England because he's put all his eggs in Maguire being fit for this tournament because he kept picking when he was out of form. He kept going to internationals anyway. And then now he's done that and he's lost him right before the tournament when ultimately you could argue that he should have been leaving Maguire out and prepping someone that was maybe in form and ready just in case. And I think it's just left us short. And I genuinely think the only reason Dunk's gone is because Maguire hasn't and they wanted someone with a little bit more experience and age, which is why Braithwaite's been left behind, which is again crazy. If Luke Shaw doesn't somehow recover for this tournament, we haven't got a left back. We're playing
all over again.
We're playing a back four and we haven't got a left back. So could we not have looked somewhere in the entirety of the English pool for a left back that actually can play left back? We're going to end up with Kieran Trippier at left back or Joe Gomez at left back that's a centre back. It's just the defensive is a massive concern for me. Shaw going, I'll never understand it, to be honest. I rate Luke Shaw. I mean, I hope Tone don't come for me, but he's not kicked a ball in anger for 6 months, and he's gone to a Euros that he might not be fit for. But don't we do this every tournament? We always take a player that probably shouldn't go, and we take them anyway, and then they end up breaking down injured. Box has made a great shout there because that's who I thought would have at least been given a chance in the run-up. Doughty from Luton. Thought it was a fair shout. But no, I'm a little bit worried, let's say, about the defence. I think we're going to miss Maguire massively.
Interesting. Very interesting. I think Box has also mentioned about the four defenders. He'd have maybe taken Maguire, Ben White, James and Chilwell. Obviously, Ben White, it doesn't look like he's going to be going anywhere near England whilst Gareth Southgate is still in charge. Seems to be the general gist. Andrew Wall, let's take a look at the legend that is Kobbie Mainoo, because he has been given the opportunity to play in his first massive international tournament. And I suppose the question here is twofold. Can you see him, to quote a Michael Richards phrase, bursting onto the scene? Can you see him being given that opportunity and literally starting, I suppose, really is what I'm getting at. Is he going to be one of those who forces himself into that starting position and becomes a huge player? And I ask this purely because I know it's a friendly. I don't hold much stock by it. But when you looked at the starting 11 for the game against Iceland, obviously Kobbie was in the middle. And there's part of you that would like to have seen and would have hoped that he might have been able to take the game by the scruff of the neck and really show his quality in there. Now, I can't say I saw the game. I'm not going to sit here and start saying I'm an expert on it, but we did lose it at the end of the day. So can you see, do you think there's just a bit of that being it's a friendly? So maybe they were all playing at sort of half-mast effectively because they know there's no point going mad for it. They've already been picked, that sort of thing, or not. Where do you see Mainoo's future in this England squad for this tournament?
I was going to say, Mainoo's definitely established himself as a mainstay of the United midfield. Calmly receives and passes the ball under pressure, which it should make him a good fit, as the third midfielder alongside Rice and Bellingham. So just with Mainoo, guy is the natural success, to Michael Carrick for United, but Carrick in England, never seemed to quite work out. So I'm hoping that's not going to be the case with Mainu as well. So, say with Mainu, I think international football is a bit slower than like Premier League football. Premier League football is more fast paced. You've just got to be on it. And with Mainu, he's considered. His passing's considered. He has the running power, but it depends on Southgate where he opts for more adventurous player. In England's engine room, but. No, Maine's going to have plenty to offer England over the years, and saying if England go far in the tournament, he could have another moment like he did in the FA Cup final, where like I say, him and Garnacho made history. So sometimes, like pre-season, last season in pre-season, we thought, oh, he looks really good, and then he had that injury. And I thought, oh, when he gets into United side, how good is he going to be? And from that first game away at Everton, we know how good he can be, and then he's just never looked back since. But for that group, he's the group that England are in. It's just, England are always like pre-tournament favourites, and in the past we've never quite lived up to that tag. Okay, we've reached the final of the last Euros and the semi-finals of the World Cup, but it's. And you got the likes of Serbia in there. They're a tough opponent as well. So, and Denmark are not going to make it easy for us. The likes of Christian Eriksen and Rasmus Højlund in there. But yeah, just England, might have their work cut out. I just when I saw the game on Friday, I just thought, maybe some of those players weren't trying not to get injured so they don't miss out. But on the other hand, it's just like you did want to go and win that game just to get some confidence. I just thought, at least you got this defeat out the way. At least then we can go into the tournament just looking ahead. So yeah, hopefully England go far enough, but we'll have to see how we get out the group stages first.
No, fair points all round. An NT saying here, if Cobby gets blamed for England's shortcomings in the Euros by fans and media, I'm going to be fuming. It's one of the main reasons I can't closely follow England in tournaments. And, I think it's one of those where, we have to talk about it. Also, the fact that we've seen it before with the penalty shootout and the problems that happen there with Rashford and Saka. The simple fact is that Mainu is black, and there is going to be a section of people across social media who will highlight that as a mistake, and therefore we end up seeing the sort of abuse that we just don't want to see in the game. So, I really hope that he shouldn't have to be worried about making a mistake just because of the abuse. But I just hope that the fans can sort their lives out, really, and just realise that the colour does not make the footballer, and that, you're either good or you're bad, or you're poor, or you've made a mistake. All these things will happen, but it's got nothing to do with your skin colour. So I really hope that people just get a grip of their lives. There's much more creative insults that you could come up with if you really, really wanted to. If you're not sure, go and watch WFC and see how I treat Connor. There's much better ways in which you can friendly insult people and still remain not an idiot. So we didn't really talk too much about Denmark on that one. So I'm just going to give you 30 seconds as we go back round to sort of tell us how you feel about sort of Denmark and the rest of the group. Especially with Eriksen and Højlund, obviously, like I say, beating Norway in midweek, and your top two. What do you think the top two in the group is going to be? I'll start. It's going to be, I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I'm still going England top with Denmark second. I can't see us not getting out of the group on this one. So, Matt, back over to... Have I asked you yet, Beanie? I don't think I have I?
Well, who's going to win the group?
About England.
No, but you carry on, mate. I don't mind.
You can have a tribble, so you can talk a little bit about Denmark, a little bit about who's going to finish top, and also, obviously, your thoughts on how England are doing. We've concentrated a lot on the defence. We've spoken a little bit about the midfield, but I think where England are absolutely looking great is the attacking options they've got. Going forward, there could be some really good games where we score 4 and they score 3, sort of thing. Could be some thrillers. Do you think?
I don't think there's many better squads sort of attacking wise than ours in the tournament. I mean, you got France with the Mbappe factor. I mean, for me, Foden gets into any team in that tournament. Kane probably does. Bellingham does. I think as English, I think it's very easy to be negative. I think we're negative very quick, very easy. Instead of looking at the positives and Saka, Bellingham, Foden, Kane, Rice, walk into every team in this tournament. Really, I mean, yeah, and I think we're favourites for a reason. I agree with Dan. The defence is a bit of an issue, but let's do what Fergie used to do. If you're going to score 2, we'll score 3 or 4, and let's play off how strong we are going forward. Which I think what he's trying to do a little bit with having Trent in, which I think Trent will start against Serbia, whether I agree with that or not. But I think he's probably going to try and go a little bit more attacking, whether that is because of the defence or not. But as for Denmark, I'm quite looking forward to seeing Højlund. I think Højlund will cause us some problems, to be fair. I think, as we see at United, he's a strong, powerful lad, and he knows where the goal is. Does well for, I need to say Holland, then does well for Denmark. Got good numbers for Denmark, so I think he'll do well. I think they'll come through the group with us. I think Denmark will probably finish second, but I think England will have way too much for these 3 teams. I think we'll top the group. No, not too much of a problem. Denmark second. That's top.
Second. I've got to be honest, Højlund, I hope he's the top scorer in the tournament. I really do, but I hope he doesn't get any of those goals against England. Is the simple answer to that question. I think the one that all of us would agree with. Matt, over to you. Denmark, their chances top 2. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think Denmark will qualify. I think having Eriksen and Højlund, I think Højlund's going to be the key one. I think if they can get him firing and he finds form in the competition, I think Denmark will comfortably get through the group. I do agree with Dan, though. The defence of England does worry me slightly. I think the quality in the rest of the team, there's no doubt in the midfield quality and the attacking quality. So I think England will qualify. I just worry about the defence. And I do think England will possibly. I've got a feeling they're going to finish second. And Denmark might just pip us to top spot. But England, I think they will qualify. Just maybe not quite top because the defence is a little bit hit and miss.
You are relying on Rasmus Højlund to save your bacon on that particular one.
All trust in Højlund.
Okay, well, we shall see. Dan, what's your top 2? What do you reckon about Denmark?
Well, I'm going to completely contradict myself and say that England are going to finish top. I just think if we've got Trippier, Stones, I don't really care who the other centre back is, and then Shaw, we've got a really good chance because of the forward players that Matt's mentioned. We've got Cole Palmer that we're forgetting about as well, who's fantastic. I actually want to see Foden step up this tournament because he's been so good for Man City for the last few years. He's not actually been overly fantastic in an England shirt. His record's not great, so I want to see him step up a little bit. I agree 100% with you, Barry. I want Højlund to finish top goal scorer, Eriksen to get 5 assists, just none against England. It's just the way it should be, really. But I think England will finish top, and I think Denmark will finish second. But these are difficult to predict because politics come into it after the first 2 games. So if you've done well in the first 2 games and they both win, you might find that England rotate 11 and they finish second because they've rested the players. So it is difficult to do this.
No, absolutely. Simon, this is how it goes. Absolutely. I predict a riot of goals against Serbia. Very good. Well done. We're all teaching Dan. There's some great stuff. Speaking of Dan, Danish bacon is top tier, which is very good there. So well done. Connor's finally woken up. Scotland to win the Euro. His channel is in a brave heart there. With John Commode suggesting England and Denmark as the top 2. These are meant to be Scottish flags, but they look like pirate flags on StreamYard. Hopefully they look lovely on YouTube. We shall see in a moment when it pops up on my screen. Yes, they do. So you see Scotland flags. I don't. John wants Mainu to be the top scorer in the tournament. So there we go. And Simon talking about Germany. Had a bad World Cup, so I want to put them behind them. And anything can happen on the day, and that is obviously true. Andrew, Denmark, top 2, go.
I was going to say with Højlund, he scored 7 goals in the Euro qualifiers. So, they'll be expecting him to carry the majority of the attacking load as well. So, particularly when he's running the channels and stretching the defences. So, he showed patches of his form, during the season at United. So if Denmark build their attack around him, we could see more of the form that saw him score like 5 goals in the Champions League group stages. But if he's going to have a successful tournament, he's probably going to need a helping hand from his teammate Christian Eriksen as well. So, but Denmark, they're like a dark horse, and they stay close to England in major competitions, and they're strong up and down the pitch, enough that they could claim top spot. But I'm going to go England to top the group with Denmark second.
England top, Denmark second. I quite like it, to be fair.
Can I just interrupt with some breaking news?
Is it good breaking news, or is what I want to say? Is it like interesting? Am I going to go, or am I going to
go? It's been reported that we've agreed personal terms with Jared Braithwaite's representatives, and we're finding a fee. So it's been reported by a couple of sources, including the Times. Muppeteers are saying that it looks like it's happening. So they're just trying to agree a fee which will be in the region of 70 million. So
only 10 million less than Harry Maguire, and he was slated for that. So
I wouldn't pay 70 million personally for him with Everton's situation, but it looks like
70 million. That's why.
No, yeah, there's some movement there. So the Times are reporting it, and then a few of the better sources are saying that there's definitely some movement.
Interesting indeed. And here we go, scrambling behind the sofa to agree a deal for Branthwaite, where NT saying 70 million a bargain, whereas Besties, hello by the way, has come straight in with let's hope not, he'd rather have Antonio Silva. So in that case, Silva is better than Branthwaite. But of course, we want somebody who's gold, which is I think what we're really after. So yeah, let's have them doing really well in the pre-seasons. I agree, Simon. So there we go. Very good. Right, we're halfway through all of these leagues. We've gone through the ones that have got the most talking points, I think, really, in terms of England and Denmark going on for a while. Group D, though, which would traditionally be the group of death. That's why it was called that, wasn't it? Because of the D. Poland, Netherlands, Austria, France. I think that's quite a tricky group. And you mentioned about a group of death for Group B, Andrew, but I mean, that's got potential draws and all sorts going on over that one. Obviously, for the Netherlands, I'm pleased to say we've got three players who used to play for Manchester United who've been put into the 26. We've got Daley Blind, who's now at Girona. I like Daley Blind, got a bit of a soft spot for him. Nice guy. We've got Memphis Depay, who plays for Atletico Madrid. Don't care too much about him, if I'm honest with you. Thought he was a bit arrogant and not a player that really filled me full of joy. And I can't even believe I'm about to say this, boys. I really can't. He plays for Burnley. He's on loan to Hoffenheim. He used to play for us for a little bit. He barely scored, but somehow Weghorst is one of the best Dutch strikers and is going to be on the plane and will be player, can't even, whatever. So he's going to be doing that. And on the Austrian side, Marcel Sabitzer, of course, who was in that same window of loan period, currently playing at Borussia Dortmund, who, as we all know, have had a really good season before they crashed into a wall and sort of lost it right at the very end. But some really, really good ones in there. Dan, we're going to go to you first on this one. Your thoughts on the group, just run through it, some of those players that we had, and then let us know what you think your top two is going to be.
I'll be honest, I'll die happy if I see Wout Weghorst score a hat-trick against, is it France in that group?
Yeah.
Yeah, if Wout Weghorst gets a hat-trick against France, I'll be absolutely buzzing. That will be my tournament TV completely watched. The Dutch are a weird one. I just don't know what to make of them. They're a country that you always expect to do well, but they never really pull up trees. I remember getting to a final against Spain a few years back when De Jong decided to drop kick someone in the chest. Still, how that was only a yellow card is beyond. But I think it's going to be quite a tough group for all of them, to be honest. I think France are going to win it. They would be my favourites for the tournament. Not necessarily a team I want to win, but I think France are probably favourites for the tournament. Mbappe is just ridiculous in that team, to be honest. And then I would probably say the Netherlands are just going to edge through because of the quality of the other teams. I think Poland would probably run them the closest of the rest involved. Yeah, it's weird that we've had so many Dutch players, to be honest. Like Memphis Depay was absolutely incredible when he came to the club. I thought, here we go. And I can remember him doing a skill on the touchline once, and I was just like, wow, and it was ridiculous. And then he sort of reverted to this big, clunky striker type and not a nippy winger anymore. So he was one of them ones that you'd sign on Footy Manager as a kid, or Champ Manager, whatever it was called back then, because he was an absolute worldie, and it just didn't work out for us, which was a shame. But it'd be interesting to see that group in particular. But I think France are going to breeze that group.
Interesting points. Andrew, I've got 2 questions for you, and I'm hoping you're going to be able to answer them both. I've chosen you because I feel like you are a font of all knowledge and that you are going to answer this question. So, obviously, the first one is Wout Weghorst. Like, genuinely, you saw the guy, and I've had you on this channel before. You've spoken about him and what he brings to the side. Can you see any part of the Dutch where he really works in that situation? By which I mean, is he likely to get more service, the ability to take more shots on goal, perhaps more aerial balls in for him to sort of head in, a la Beckham used to do time and time again, putting it in the right space for him to get on it? Have I been overly harsh on Wout Weghorst? Was it just because the sum of the parts at Manchester United weren't where it should be? We've also got to remember that Ralf Rangnick is the Austria manager. It's got nothing to do with the Dutch, I agree. But that means they're finishing 4th. So that was the first thing. And the second thing, because it's been bothering me for a while, whatever happened to the word Holland? Because I always remember growing up, they were just Holland. That's all we ever called them. Oh, it's England against Holland. Now it's just the Netherlands. And I feel like this is my men's team version of calling Elizabeth Taylor and Liz. Because I want to keep calling them Holland because that's what I've always known them as. But they're the Netherlands there. So 2 things you can try and teach me with there. Is Wout Weghorst better than we think? And why are we not calling them Holland anymore? And then your top 2, please.
Just on Weghorst, yeah, I just think a bit like United and a bit like Holland, give him the service and you'll get something out of him. So, okay, he only scored, was it 1 goal for us, but I felt like he offered us a lot more than a certain other player that's left now, Martial. Was like he's putting in the effort. You can see how, well, when he scored that 1 and only goal, you can see how much it meant to him as well. So I just think, yeah, at times Weghorst didn't get, all the service he needed. So yeah, at the time when we bought him, was just like, well, we couldn't go out and buy a strike, slap down like a transfer fee. It was all loans. So, but yeah, it didn't quite work out in the way we'd all hoped. We would have scored a lot more goals. But I just think if Holland gave him the service, he could score a good few goals. So I just remember back in the World Cup against, I think, was it Argentina, he scored as well. I remember him scoring a goal against them. So yeah, and on the other point, yeah, Holland, I'm just like, I remember back in Euro 96, it was called Holland, not the Netherlands. I'm like, why they called, yeah, just, I don't know why they, I still call them Holland. So, but yeah, it's one of those. But yeah, and in terms of the group, it's a very stacked group. So it's just, and France and I was going to say the Netherlands. Then France and Holland have already been through the qualifying rounds together. So France won both of those games as well. So, but Poland and Austria, they're exciting teams, but they're not going to have enough to take down, Holland and France. So, but yeah, I see France and Holland to go through with France, top in the group.
Absolutely that. And Simon, I'm with you. I will always call it Holland in my own backyard because that's just what I'm used to them being called. And to be honest, when I call them Netherlands, I think of Peter Pan. So that's just the way it is. But given hashtag bring back calling Netherlands just Holland, we couldn't get Hansen in. Well, I'm not sure that's going to get there, but I'm all for it. But God bless NT. He's came up with the actual answer, which I could pretend I did know. I didn't know it. I googled it. But the Netherlands refers to the entire country, all 12 provinces. Holland only refers to 2 specific provinces, which is North and South Holland, Amsterdam, The Hague, and Rotterdam. Which I'm not going to lie, that's either 3 or 5, or I'm very confused with the number in there you've done there, NT, but absolutely that. So NT saying it's a bit like saying Great Britain versus UK, I suppose, in a way, which is fair enough. So there you go. There's your little geography lesson. Who says you can't learn 9:30 at night? Who says that? Nobody. Not on this channel. No, sir. Andy, Beanie, because we've done the other one. Why don't you talk to me a little bit about Daley Blind? Because I think he was one of the better players that we got, certainly under the Van Gaal era. I thought he was brilliant. We've spoken a lot about some of the players that we've had from the Dutch. I can always remember Jordi Cruyff turning up. And I remember feeling like that was going to be the best signing we'd ever made, because if he's anything like his dad, he wasn't, which is unlucky for us. But there we go. Great player nonetheless. Daley Blind, how did you rate him? What do you reckon this group's going to go down to?
I thought Blind was great for us, to be honest. I can't believe he's still playing or getting in the Dutch side anyway. I thought Blind was tidy for us. I thought he did a good job. What was it, Van Gaal? Was it we had Blind? Was it? Yeah, I thought he did well. I mean, whenever I think of the Dutch, I always think Van Nistelrooy for us, Stam, proper like personal favourites of mine. I'm not too keen on the Dutch nowadays. They're a little bit Liverpool heavy for me with Van Dijk, Gakpo, and I can't remember who the other one is. So they won't be getting out of the group for me for that very reason. But for me, yeah, you can't look past France. I mean, the Mbappe factor, I think we'll just walk them through a few games. For me, I'm going to say France, and I'm going to say Austria just because of Ralph. I'm going to say Ralph's going to... He's doing well there, to be fair to him. He's doing okay.
France and Austria.
I'm giving Ralph Rangnick a little nod there, yeah.
You have just had your Dan moment. Congratulations. So he's got France and Austria. I'm going to... Whilst you're in a silly mood...
That is a bigger shout than me saying Hungary.
I don't. It is, to be honest with you. I think you're both absolutely mad. Beanie, I'm going to put this to you because you're clearly in a silly mood, so you might get a silly answer. Hypothetically speaking, would you re-sign Blind now?
Probably not, no. I'd rather play a Willie. I want Kambala. I'd rather play Kambala than... So that's what I best carry that on.
And come on. How old are you, Dan? Come on.
Kambala.
Talking about Willie. Will he play? Won't he play? Oh,
Willie.
I've never seen anything like it. He's out to put. He's properly gone. He's properly gone. That's unbelievable. Just can't get the staff nowadays. What a child. Matt Morgan. We're going to leave Willie where it belongs. We're going to zip that up for now, and we're going to concentrate. The best bit is that Dan's still got his mic on, so we can hear him chatting. It's brilliant. Matt, just talk about the group, mate, because the kids are having a nightmare. What do you reckon? And is there somebody we didn't talk about? Sabitzer. He's not had much said about him. So talk to us a little bit about how you felt about him as a player for United, and could he have an impact on the tournament?
I don't think Sabitzer was actually as bad as certain people made out when he was at United. I think he actually cropped up in quite big moments. I think was it the Europa League when we was in one of the seasons. I think he played quite a crucial part in. I think it was one of the knockout games. I think it was against Sevilla. If I remember rightly. 2 goals. Yeah. I don't think he was actually that bad, and I wouldn't have been too disappointed had they have kept him and signed him permanently, to be quite honest. I don't think he was going to stay, but would I have him in the team now? Possibly. But yeah, it's one of them. I think in terms of the group, I think you can't look past France probably to top of the group comfortably. And I do think Netherlands will have just a bit too much quality just to finish second. So yeah, my top 2 are definitely France and the Netherlands.
All sensible people going for France and Netherlands, Matt. I completely agree with you. That's what I went with. Just the one that's gone out there on a limb and put Austria through. But fair play. It's all about opinions. This was the one I wanted. What a tweet! What a message this is, by the way, from John. The Dutch had Van Basten, Van Nistelrooy, Bergkamp, and Percy. Now, I think that pretty much says it all for that group there. Absolutely. It's what we offer, mate. It's all we've got. So if you like a bit of that around, because boy, I'm sure there's going to be more of it. I'm pleased Dan sorted himself out. It's just unbelievable. Right, so there we go. So that was Group D, 2 to go. And Group E is obviously the next one because we are counting today. Counting? See, I'm going now. We are working today in the letters. We have got Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, and Ukraine. When you initially said Group of Death, Andrew, I then thought this one, purely because I think we can all say who's going to come first. I can't comfortably say which one of those three teams is going to finish second. So I do think there is a big fight to be had there. But we are back round to you. It's your go. So obviously we've got Lukaku, who is at Roma at the moment, used to play for us and is our big Belgian reminder of life that used to be. And we do have a Slovakian player who used to play for Manchester United. I use that term loosely. Can you remember who it was?
I'm trying to think. No, that stumped me.
Yeah. Would have stumped me as well if I hadn't gone through the list of all the players because I wouldn't have remembered it. But Martin Dubravka from Newcastle, the goalkeeper, who we had on loan and never played, really.
He did. He played in the League Cup
not
and he's won a League Cup winner. So there you go.
So like I say, he never played really. He was just given a token run out. But yes, he is the goalkeeper for Slovakia. So, you know, that's a good bit of news there. Obviously still at Newcastle. What do we reckon about that group? Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, Ukraine. Can you see Lukaku having a good tournament? He seems to be doing all right over in Italy with Roma. Can you see him bossing this one?
Potentially can be. And it seems like he's found a home in Italy. You know, that's where he's had his best form. Okay, at United, he had a great first season with us, and then it all just petered out for him. We never quite saw, you know, we've got the very best out of him. But if you're looking at that group, you know, like with Belgium, you know, their golden generation, a bit like England's, is almost, you know, aged out now. And so, like them, probably should have won maybe a major tournament, but Belgium's still got, you know, enough class and quality in their squads, you know, to make it, you know, get into the knockout stages. So it would make them one of the favourites to top the group. So just, yeah, it's just, you're looking at the others that can make the second place, and to say it's a bit, I'm just trying to decide, you know, who out of those is going to push to the second place. But I just think, for me, it's just going to be, I think Ukraine are just going to make it as well. I just think they'll want to have a good showing in the tournament as well. So it'd be nice to see them push themselves all the way as well. So it's going to be, that's probably going to be an interesting group to watch. You know, how all those four teams fare. But yeah, so Belgium and Ukraine for me.
Indeed, you've gone along with Bestie, just there. John Commode saying Dubravka wins the award for the worst goalkeeping performance in history and kept a clean sheet. League Cup game as Burnley. Or is it, John? I still think it's Box. Like, it's hit this point now where he's having a full-on conversation with himself in the chat. Because John's come out here and put that in, and then Box has said it's happened again before he gets out there. So I think there's a bit of I think we need to check the votes here. Something's going a bit wrong. See, confirmed to be the same. No one's ever seen them in the same room. Should have been obvious, really. So yeah, I agree with that. Something's gone very wrong. I'm struggling. I'm not sure I'm going to go my second place. I've gone Belgium first. Beanie, is that kind of what you see happening here? Belgium storming the group, and then it's just a fight for second?
Yeah, I think it'll be quite a tight group. Probably Belgium to win it. Yeah, probably. If I had to choose one, probably Ukraine. I don't think there'll be too much between them three, to be honest. Whoever wanted the third place, the best sort of third place, has come out of that group.
Very good. No, I agree. John's now deliberately spelling his alter ego's name incorrectly to try and throw us off the scent. I think it's outrageous here. I've spotted you, John, sitting there with your 2 YouTube accounts open. It's unbelievable. Matt, talk to me a bit about Martin Dubravka. Did you ever feel like he was a signing that was ever really going to feature for us? Because in the same way that we spoke a little bit about Tom Heaton going over for England, these are people that are all right, but they're just fillers, aren't they? I mean, I call them a waste of money because you're never really planning on playing them. And this is what I find mad. We stockpile goalkeepers so that you've got huge numbers of them that never play. But then in your outfield positions, you end up in, sticking Casemiro at centre-back because you haven't got enough of them. To me, it seems a madness. I'd rather have, the outfield players are the ones that are most likely to get injured. So you only really need 2 goalkeepers. This idea of having, and we've had some terrible ones really for like the 3rd place goalkeepers. It's a bit mad. Did you ever see Martin Dubravka having that opportunity? And do you see him being the reason why Slovakia could make it into the next round?
In terms of Slovakia, I don't think he'll make much of a difference because I don't actually see them qualifying. But in terms of United signing him, it didn't really make much sense, to be honest. We all sort of knew he's never really going to play. Also at the time, obviously De Gea was there, I believe, still. And it was kind of like, you're never really going to play Dubravka over De Gea in any sort of competition, really. To be fair, I still don't understand why United got rid of Sergio Romero. I think the setup they had when him and De Gea were the 2 keepers was absolutely perfect. Ever since then, it's made absolutely no sense. The keepers who brought in, I'll say Nana's first choice now, and obviously Bayindir, he's not even had a chance. So for me, ever since De Gea and Romero were the top 2, the keeper situations made no sense. But yeah, I can't see Dubravka making much of a difference to Slovakia. For me, Belgium will comfortably top the group. And I agree with the rest. I don't know enough about the other 3 teams, to be honest. So I'd probably put me luck on Ukraine being second out of them other 3.
Fair enough. This conversation between John and Box is just next level how he's doing this. I don't know how he's, look at it. You go first, Box, this time. So Box pulls himself in there a minute later. Oh, excellent. I'm going different. It's almost like you knew that's what you were going to do, John. Funny faces. Yes, says John. And then John replies to himself, Portugal, Czech Republic, Turkey, Georgia. Unbelievable, Jeff. Oh, I was flip-flopping between the Turks and the Czechs, says John. And then John says, fair enough, I wasn't. Yeah, you're outed, exposed. Oh, what a well. Dan, you're the last one on this one. I'm actually going to go Slovakia to finish second. And that's not just because I've drawn them out of my sweepstake at work, although that is the deciding factor, because it really is just much of a muchness for those 3, isn't it? It will literally depend. I know this is going to be the stupidest thing that's ever been said, or the most intelligent. It depends on how they play against each other. Is really going to be the thing. Whether they get a draw, whether they get that slim win, it's one of those. And this literally is where the tournament football comes into its own. What happens on the day is going to be the important thing, whether it's one that goes off the backside, that sort of thing. So how do you see this group turning out?
I agree with Andy. I think this group could be mental, really. It could be one of the best ones to watch because you just don't know what's going to happen. It just could be strange results. I've got to say, though, Belgium, crap. I'd be furious if I was a Belgium fan. They should have won something. With the team they had and the players on paper, they've just been awful. It's another team that you thought going into every tournament they're going to absolutely do the bits, and they never have. They've struggled like England's golden generation. To be fair, I wouldn't disagree. I would say Belgium top. I'd probably go Ukraine to finish second, but I do think this could be a really good watch in terms of surprising groups of the tournament because it's harder to predict.
I do agree, and I miss the old Romania. Do you remember Romania when? A lot of you don't because you're all young, but when Georgi Hagi used to play for them, they were a great side. I do sometimes yearn for the old international football. I just feel like there were proper players and proper names back then. That Sweden with Brolin, Thomas Brolin. That's Klinsmann playing for Germany. Oh, That was when you used to want the stickers and you cared. And nowadays,
I feel like we're missing a banner.
no, well, you probably are, aren't you? Go on, let's throw it out there because it was today. You know, I've been watching a few TikToks of trying to guess the England players from the 80s and the 90s, and lots of those are sticker albums. And I'm going, I used to collect those. But it was brilliant times. The international football of old, they were just superb players, and now, like the chat you used to have in the playground was so much better. You know, the people that you were talking about, the names that you were talking about, and now it's all just Ronaldo or Messi. Like, honestly, the kids today, they've got to get a grip. Got to get a grip. It was a good call on the banner, to be fair. It really was. So fair play. And yes, probably is the hardest one to predict. We've got one more group to predict. I am going to warn you in advance. You're going to need to tell me your 4 teams that you think are going to make it through for being the best third-placed teams. So you need to start thinking about who your third place teams in all of those groups are, and then decide which 4 are likely to be the ones that make it through. But I can comfortably say, Andrew, that you're going to be the last person to do that. So you've got hours to make your decision because Beanie is going to talk our ear off, I would imagine, as we look at Turkey, Georgia, Portugal, and the Czech Republic, who are called Czechia on the UEFA website. So we do love a bit of that. But when you click on it, call themselves the Czech Republic. So countries all across the world just trying to do me dirty this show. But there we go. Portugal, obviously, we have got the mighty Bruno Fernandes. He will be playing for Portugal alongside Diogo Dalot. Superb footballing nation. They've been doing incredibly well. Lost to Croatia in their last game. So them. Of course, Turkey will have Altay Bayindir. He of the one appearance for Manchester United during the African Cup of Nations. 3 goalkeepers' names, though, for Turkey. So a big possibility that Altay Bayindir may not make it onto the pitch because obviously he's not had a huge number of games for us. And when I say not huge, I mean 1. So there we go. And of course, also playing for Portugal, you might have heard of him playing for Al Nassr at the moment, Cristiano Ronaldo. Nobody seems to sit and go, how's he still playing football and looking like a Greek god? But there we are. So a big team in Portugal, big team in Turkey, Czech Republic, Georgia, little interesting team there. Beanie, what are you thinking about that group? How do you see that going? And I'm going to ask all of you this question because it's not one that I suppose we really talk about too much, but hindsight's a beautiful thing. Do you think the club have missed Ronaldo? Looking at how Højlund's been, if we'd have still had Ronaldo at the start of this season, would Ronaldo have been the player that Højlund could have learned from and could have had, the pressure taken off of him? Would Ronaldo have been likely to pass the ball to Højlund and give him the opportunities that he needed when we're talking about him getting the ball? Do you think, had he not gone and he was still around, that could have been a good mix up front this season, which could have helped us to better our stunning -1 goal difference of this season? Andy, Beanie.
Yeah, I mean, Ronaldo would have scored goals for us, wouldn't he? Whether his ego would have liked where United are at the minute, I don't think him being there would have really changed what's been happening. Would it have stunted Højlund a little bit? I don't know. I think it was right that he left. I thought it was a bit of a mistake bringing him back, to be honest. With where he was under Ollie, I thought that was pretty much like where the sort of dominoes have started falling over for me since Ronaldo's come back, and it's all gone a bit wrong. But as far as the group goes, for me, Portugal probably up there with France and England for me for winning the tournament. I think they've got a very, very good squad. They've got a good 11. They've got a good sort of backup 11. Got a lot of good young players coming through. Bruno just assists in his sleep, don't he? I mean, his figures for Man United are amazing. His figures for Portugal are amazing. They've got some real good match-winning players. Ronaldo will score goals again because he just always does. He's a machine, and I don't think he gets the credit still that he deserves because he's still a very good player. As for the rest of the group, it'd be nice to see Bayindir because what was it, Newport? Was it that he played for us? Was that the Newport game? It'd be nice to see what he can do for Turkey. I always have a little look for Czech Republic. So I was quite a fan of Karol Poborský back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember old Karol with his long hair and all that. But yeah, I think Portugal will win the group, and I think probably Turkey, I'd say, would be second. Do you want me to give you my third places as well?
I think we'll go around second time to do that one. So you said Portugal and Turkey. So you gone
Turkey,
for?
yeah.
Lovely. So that's Portugal and Turkey. Very good. Matt, Beanie talks about Bayindir and having the chance to see him play.
Mhm.
I mean, the simple fact is he played against Newport. He did concede, but that was par for the course for most Manchester United defences and goalkeepers this season, to be fair. But do you feel a bit sorry for Bayindir still? I mean, I still look back over that period, over the Cup of Nations, the whole discourse that was going on about, Anana's going to go and he's going to go late so that he's able to play the first game. I mean, there's got to be an element of that being soul destroying for a goalkeeper, hasn't there? That your team are actively saying, do you know what? We still want our main goalkeeper. We don't even trust you enough for 3 games, effectively.
Yeah, I do feel sorry for him. The fact that he's literally played 1 game against literally the worst team we've played all season, to me, sort of probably sums up exactly how he feels. Obviously, whether he'll beat United next season or not, no one kind of knows that. Whether he'll stick around, if I was in, probably not, because he's probably going to be in the same situation next season. Yeah, it'd be not like Andy said. It'd be nice to actually see him get a chance for Turkey, to actually see what he can actually do, see what he can produce on a bigger stage. Because judging him against Newport is impossible, really. So yeah, it'd be nice to see what he can do. But in terms of the group, I think Portugal. Obviously, you've got Bruno, who's just he's literally probably going to be player of the tournament for me. Quite possibly with the assist. Obviously, Ronaldo, give him the service. He'll bang the goals in. Yeah, you can't look past Portugal for top. Second for me, I'm actually probably going to go Czech Republic for second. I think just about in that one.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah. But yeah, even though you said that, I still wrote down Turkey. And do you know why I did that? Because I was sure you were going to go Portugal and Turkey. So I did the line for the P and the T immediately. And then because I'd done that, I just carried on writing it, thinking, of course, Turkey. But you didn't. I changed it now, though. Czech Republic. Very good. Dan. I don't need you to talk about Bruno Fernandes or any of those people because we've had that conversation. You can answer the Ronaldo question, with the Ronaldo Højlund point. Bestie's already spoken about it. Understand what I'm asking, which is, the whole experience and how he was supposed to help to lead the line. Now that we have a good, young, up-and-coming striker who we could trust, would he have been the right foil for Højlund? Or do you think it's probably better that Højlund is forging his own path? And as we said, was only one off of Wayne Rooney's first season stats.
I just don't think, on paper, it might have worked. I just don't see it working in real time because Ronaldo is not going to play foil for anybody. He wants to be the main man. So Højlund would have probably not got as many starts, and he needed the starts this season. Hopefully, it'll benefit him for next season. So I'm sort of glad that Ronaldo went. I'm glad he came back, and I wouldn't change it. But I agree with Beanie in the sense that he was probably at the wrong time for the club, but you wouldn't change it. Like, it was amazing when he came back. I can remember when it happened. I was absolutely buzzing. But I think Højlund needed what he got last season, which was a bit a big run in a team like Man United. But he does need help. I just don't think Ronaldo was that right help. We need proven Prem goal scorer, which I say it every time. There's not many of them. There's not many proven Prem goal scorers. People don't realise how hard it is to hit 20 goals in the Premier League. People talk like it's dead easy and strikers should get 30, 38, 39.
I don't think we can say Ronaldo's not a proven Prem goal scorer. I mean, the guy's got more goals.
I don't necessarily mean Ronaldo in terms of coming back. It's just you could see that he was struggling in the league and the way we played. And we're not a club at the minute that can rely on. I don't know what you really call them, but he's a player that he's a luxury, if anything. And we can't have luxury players at Man United at the minute. You need 11 players that are going to work hard, because otherwise we're not going to get back to the top. And Ronaldo was a bit of a luxury. So I'm glad it's worked out that way.
Who's your top two?
I think Portugal are going to win the group. I want to mention Dallo as well, because I think he's going to be really good. And then I'm going to go for the Czech Republic. Is it the Czech Republic in that group? It is, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the Czech Republic to nick second. But I am going to pick one of my qualifying four from that group. So, because I think that's going to be, yeah, I think that's going to be a one-sided group.
Ronaldo may have taken some pressure off of Højlund at times, but also added pressure to lads. So I think it's for the best that Ronaldo isn't with us right now. And Simon's saying here, if the women can win a trophy like this and go through to the World Cup final, then why can't we? Which I agree with. It's embarrassing that the women are winning trophies that we can't. I don't know if it's embarrassing is the word I would have potentially gone for there. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's another word. Let's all go back and have a little think about a different word that we could put in that sentence. See, more learning. We're doing a bit of English now. Is there a better adjective that could be used for that? But yeah, I don't know the men should be embarrassed. I think it's
disappointing.
Yeah, disappointing. That's a good one. Well done, Dan. You win. House point to you. Good stuff. Andrew Wall. You can talk about whatever you like. You can talk about the Ronaldo thing. You can talk about Fernandes. You can talk about Dallo. Pick a topic you want to chat on. You can't do all three. Pick one. And when you've done that, give us your top two.
I'm going to pick Ronaldo. So just thinking of just being saying of like was it a mistake in coming back? I just think at the time it was the right decision. So was we going to pass up the opportunity to re-sign him back? And I never got to see him live the first time. So to see him, come back to United. I mean, that first game, against Newcastle, the atmosphere was just electric. And I remember still being in the ground an hour after the game and we're still singing his name because he scored 2 goals that day. And the goals he scored throughout that season, I remember like the winning goal against Villarreal, a couple of goals against Tottenham, and the hat-trick he scored against Norwich as well. So, yeah, had he stayed, I don't know, would he have developed Højlund? I don't know. Would Højlund have been compared to him or being in his shadow? So, just thinks Højlund's got to, forge his own career, not, it would have been great to get that experience, but, he'd always slightly been compared with Ronaldo being in the side as well. So, but I think it was right. Well, what happened in the end with Ronaldo, it was time for you to go. So it was just like, you can't go against the manager. Okay, some things he said about the club and the place, he was right, but you don't go against the manager. Like, if he'd have done that against Fergie, well, yeah, I don't know. Would he have been out the door? I don't know. Fergie treats him like a son and still does. But that's another question. But I'm just thinking with Ronaldo, he's turning 40 next year, and you just think this surely is his last major tournament. But you never know with Ronaldo. He still looks like he can go on forever. But, I wouldn't say he's not a consistent starter at the moment for Portugal. But, that Portugal squad's got enough to get out the group stages. So I'm making them favourites to top the group. And second place, for me, it's between Turkey and Czech Republic. But I just feel like the Czech Republic are going to just sneak it ahead of them. So I'll give Czech Republic the nod for the second place.
Interesting. It's a good point you make about Ronaldo. He's 3 years younger than me. And I look at that and I just think to myself, he's sitting there, granted in the Saudi league, but still playing international football, looking like a Greek god, like I say, and just, running about all over the pitch and doing that. Me, on the other hand, I make this noise when I bend over. Oh! So that's only 3 years. I can't imagine him doing that in 3 years. So it don't bode well for me, does it? Yeah, make the most of me while I'm here. Right. So we're going to go down to your final four, the other 4 people. But I am going to say that we're taking your house point away, Dan. We've got a new winner NT's one of inspiring, I think, was a much better word for that. So yes, I think the women being inspiring is a very good one. I like that. Well done. So he went first last time. Let's just go with Matt. Matt, who's your 4?
My final 4, I've gone with Germany,
Sorry,
Spain.
no, I've not given you the right question. The 4 people that are going to qualify in 3rd place. Sorry.
Oh, 3rd place, right? Okay. I'd probably go. It's a tricky one. I'm gonna go. I think Austria. Tricky one. Turkey. I'm gonna go with, and I am gonna go probably with Croatia.
That's 3.
Switzerland
Switzerland.
as the 4th.
Interesting. First time they've been mentioned. Will they be mentioned again? Dan, who's your 4?
Oh, it'd help if I can remember I picked in the first time round, to be honest. No, I'm going to go for
Hungary, Germany, Spain, Croatia, England, Denmark, France, Netherlands, Belgium, Ukraine, Portugal, and the Czech Republic.
So I'm going to go for Italy.
Good shout.
Who did I say was going for in England's group?
England and Denmark.
No, none of them are going to go through. I think Poland will get through.
Good shout.
Turkey.
Turkey, yeah.
And then I've got one more. Just take
You
your
have.
pick. Take your absolute pick. I'm going to go for Slovakia.
Slovakia. Do you know what's really interesting about this is that when you get to the end of the group stages, only 6 teams are going home.
What's the point in them?
Go through all that palaver to get rid of 6 teams, which is they might as well just do eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
We should have just picked the 6 teams going home.
That's what I mean. That would have been the easiest way, wouldn't it? Which 6 have got no chance? Andrew, who are your last 4 qualifiers?
So Switzerland, Italy, Austria, and Turkey.
Switzerland. You went way faster than the others. Italy, Austria, and Turkey. Did you say?
Yeah, Turkey as well.
Very good. Well done. And nice and speedy. Well done. Show everybody else how it should be done. Beanie.
I'm going to go Italy, Holland, or Netherlands, whichever one you want to call it. Romania.
I've got to be politically correct on that one. Netherlands, Romania. Nice. Okay.
And I'll give it to Scotland. Go on, give the Scots one as well.
Very nice. Okay. Well, there we go then. That is our... I've written it all down, so I know where we are and where we're going. So that will be very interesting to see how you get on. Saying here, will there be a final for 3rd place? Will they stop doing that? No, it's just the top ones, I think. If you hold on a second, I've got the answer. So yeah, just the 4 best 3rd place teams. So there'll be no knocking out or doing anything like that to get to that one. And then a final for 3rd place. No, doesn't look like there is a 3rd place match there either, if that was what you meant. So that's answered both of those questions, depending on which one you asked. Right, there's 2 things I wanted to bring up from the chat. First thing here, are we going to do Euro tournament watch-alongs? Rajat asked. We might. I don't know if there's a demand for it and an appetite for it. It might possibly happen. So if you do want it, pop it in the chat, pop it in the comments. And if you feel like you want that, then I'm sure that is something we could do. It won't be every single game, obviously, because we do have lives, contrary to popular belief. There will be things to do, but you never know. We might be able to. Certainly, as we move a bit further on, if there's any big games, we might well do that. And a question from Simon, which I think was a fair one. So I am going to ask you your winner, who you think is going to win the Euros this season. And you can tell us who you think your golden boot is going to be. So there we are. Let's ask the question. Why? Barry do a Georgia Albania watch along. There's part of me there There's one of three exactly there. One of three things. Either one, you just want me to slip up over all of the really hard surnames for me to say. Two, you think I'd somehow make it exciting. Or three, you just don't like me very much, really. It's your payback. I don't know what one it is. I don't really care. If you want a Georgia Albania one, have we got a Georgia Albania? That's going to be tricky because one's in Group B. So Georgia and Albania would both need to qualify. But if they do, and they manage to play each other, yes, I'm going to do it just for you. All right. So there we go. Andrew, we're going to kick off with you. Who's going to win and who's going to get the golden boot?
So I've got to back England. Back England to win it.
Wow.
Golden. Oh, there's so many good strikers at the Euros as well. I'll go again with England again. Well, Harry Kane. I just think he's going to get a few goals. I'm just thinking after the season he's had at Bayern, he's going to chip in with some more goals for England as well. So hopefully we go far and win the tournament. But
there we go. Hadrian's rule was built to keep the Scots out of England. Andrew's rule was built to make sure he only ever talks about England. He's not interested in any other country winning anything. So there we go. Amazingly, Boxer saying that's going to be the final. If it's a Georgia versus Albania European Championship final, if that happens, Box, I will give you a year's subscription to whatever you want. Like, because I know that's not going to happen. Sod it, I'll give you $5 million.
Was it like when Greece reached the Euro finals in 2004?
Yeah,
and
but that's
Portugal?
Greece. It was Greece against a big team. It wasn't Georgia against Albania.
Yeah.
Like,
nobody gave Greece any chance of even reaching the final that year. So.
There's no chance. No chance. It will never happen. I will be amazed if either of them make it into the last rounds, like the next round of 16. Matt, we're going to go to you next. Winner and golden boot.
Winner, I'd love to say England, but I feel like France, I think I'd probably put as the favourites to win it. I think England will probably get quite far, but I think France are probably the strongest team in the competition, I'd say, out of everyone. And golden boot, I'm actually gonna go Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo might actually turn up this tournament. I think he'll be up for it.
Well, let's hope so. Otherwise, Portugal might not make it through.
Yeah.
Very good. Beanie, what say you?
It's coming home, isn't it? So England.
He's on straight in with England.
England and Harry Kane.
And he's gone with Harry Kane. Honestly, if I couldn't see the pair of you, I'd think you were doing a John Commode box job there. But there we go. Tan, what are you going with?
I mean, I'd love to just follow suit, but I just can't. I'm going to go for Portugal to win it and Mbappe to get the golden boot.
Mbappe, what, that overrated guy? Okay, fair enough. We'll see. I've gone Højlund for the top scorer because I said I was going to do that. So there we go. I think Germany are going to do. I'm going to go Albania. Albania to win. No chance. No chance. Although if it is, I'd cry. And I don't know if I'll be able to show my face on the internet ever again. I think there's a few shouts. I reckon Germany are going to do a lot better than people think. I reckon, especially with it being a home Euros for them, they've got good chance of doing well. England are in there with a shout. Spain, I think, France, all of those top teams. But I am going to have to pick one. I'm going to go Germany, And that was painful. But there we go. I don't know why. I've just got this little sneaking suspicion they're going to do well with their home Euros. So there we go. I have one last thing to talk about, and I'm going to talk to you about it in terms of one of the rules, because there's 5 rules that have been introduced for Euro 2024. And I just wanted to throw them out there because there's some interesting ones. So I'm going to start off with you, Dan, because it's your favourite one. They are going to be using semi-automated offside tracking for this one. So that's like VAR. It shouldn't take as long, whereas it might take 70 seconds normally. It's only going to take about 20 to 30 seconds. to do that. It looks a little bit like Hawkeye, so it sort of looks at where it is, freezes the picture, and just turns it around the side. Looks quite nice. And I also just wanted to point out that Wolves, in case you didn't know, who lodged their complaint about VAR and wanted it to go in, and there's lots of people potentially going to support them, they lost that 19-1. Every other club in the Premier League, after letting them bring it, went, no, we're not supporting that. So VAR is here to stay in the Premier League next season. But semi-automated offsides, good rule, good change. What do you reckon?
As long as the technology is there and it works, no problems with it at all. It saves all the line drawing and stuff like that. And it was at the last World Cup and it worked really well. So no problems there if it speeds it up. It will obviously get questioned if there's ever a big mistake. So as long as there's no mistakes, we're fine.
Excellent. I like that one. Matt, nice one for you. Apparently, only the captain is going to be able to approach the referee. If any other player approaches the referee, they're going to get a yellow card. If your goalkeeper is your captain, you're allowed to nominate an outfield player who can talk to the ref, because obviously, the goalkeeper can't just be running about the pitch. They're not fit enough for that. So what are they going to do? Imagine Neville Southall trying to do that when he was a goalkeeper. Never going to happen. So what do you reckon about that one? It's taking a leaf out of the rugby books. What do you reckon?
In hindsight, it sounds like a good rule. I don't think it'll come into fruition though, because I'd be very surprised. I don't think I've ever seen a game where at least 3 or 4 players crowd the referee. I just don't see it being a thing. In the spur of the moment, it's all the emotion, isn't it? So I just don't see it being a thing. I think there'll be quite a few yellow cards, and if that's the case,
it'd be interesting. I hope they do. I really hope they do, because actually, I think this crowding of it would be an interesting thing to stop. And I think if people know they're going to get sent off for it, they'll soon stop doing it. It's meant to be the theory, but deep down, I think I probably agree with you. We'll have to see how it goes. Nice one for you, Andrew. There's going to be a microchip in the ball to try and help detect when the ball has hit something. In other words, it's going to help with handball, apparently. Heard of this?
No.
No. I'm not going to lie. I got this off of a TikTok, so this could all be rubbish that we're chatting about here. I'm not seeing if you've got anything else. They might be bugging me right off here. But if that was a thing, can that be any good?
I don't know. I'm just like, it's trying to define the term handball. It's like, each season we're like, what is handball? And we're all like scratching our heads. Is it this? Is it that? And I'm just thinking, if that is true, then we've got to see it in action first, and then let's see if it proves.
It's a genuine thing. The Euro 2024 football from Adidas contains a rechargeable, would you believe, motion sensor at the centre of the ball. The microchip can detect up to 500 movements per second, meaning it can accurately record when a ball is touched by a player. So I think the idea being to check if they're not sure if it's hit. I mean, when you think about it, the VAR is often sitting there going, has it hit them? Has it not?
Is
if
it intentional?
They see the ball go past, but does it need to be intentional?
You can work it out. Is it intentional? Is it, accidental? That's the ball. The microchip of the ball's not going to detect, did he mean to move his arm and then hit the ball? You just got to define what the term of handball is and just stick to it, and then. But it'll be interesting to see how that all works. But
I agree. I think it's going to be like what's the thing in cricket called? What do they call that one in cricket when they're checking? Is it like the snicker or something like that?
The snickometer.
Yeah. See if there's been an edge.
Sounds like it'd be a bit like that.
But could end up causing more chaos. I don't know.
Well, there we go. So there we go. We'll know if it hit their hand, but that's the plan of it. Beanie, a very simple one for you. Normal stoppage time. Apparently, there's been loads of stoppage time in all of our Premier League games. Sometimes almost quarter of an hour being added on to the end of a game. Apparently, it's the normal stoppage time rules. Are you pleased that we're only going to be getting a maximum of 5 minutes at the end of a game? Or do you think that actually that additional time added to the drama for the Premier League?
I thought it got a bit silly at times when you were seeing sort of 10, 11 minutes added on. Let's get back to the 90-minute game. A few minutes added on at the end, like it always has been. There was never any reason to change it in the first place anyway.
Very good. And the last rule, which we don't really need to talk about, is that the squad sizes have now been officially forever and a day increased to 26 players rather than the 23. It was only trialled during the last Euros. So there we go. Do you know what? It's been a longer show than we normally do, guys. But that's going to happen when you talk about an entire tournament and you start the stream by talking about the fact that Erik ten Hag will be staying at Manchester United and not leaving. The argument is that Bald is best, and that certainly seems to be the case that Ineos have come to this time around. I'd like to thank my panel. They've been absolutely superb. Thank you very much, Andrew. Well done. And cheers to you, Beanie, as well. And of course to Matt for coming on and Dan for finally bothering to turn up. We appreciate that too. So you guys in the chat, you've been awesome. Absolutely brilliant talking to every one of you. Always a delight and never a chore. We're probably going to have a little chat in a bit about when we're on next, because I can't remember exactly what it is that we're going to be doing. But we will be back because we're trying to keep it to 2 shows a week. So we might see you at the weekend, but I'm not going to tell you a day, because if I do, people are going to shout at me if we're not on. And my apologies for this week. We had to change them. The Saturday show ended up coming up on the Sunday. The Wednesday show ended up moving to today. These things happen when you're in the world of internet creativity. It's not always the easiest thing to make sure that everybody can get there on the same night, and things happen, life exists. So we thank you for your patience. Cheers, everybody. Have a wonderful time. Football, whether it comes back to England or not, is coming back to our screens. So it really is coming home. Who's going to win tomorrow? Who cares? Football's back. See ya.